Hello, 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 everyone. All righty, let me get my screen up and running. Oh my goodness. Look, I fix my hair. Girl gotta get her stuff right. Here we go. Let me get on this. Hi, everybody. Welcome to OVC. We send my heart me. Make sure you're sending your daily heart me. Make sure you tapping that screen and you sending out the live. Hi, Ali. Make sure you tapping that screen and sharing out the live. Let me make sure I share out the live when I repost it there. I want to share it to my story. All right. It's been shared to the candidate. We've been having a bet of how to pronounce her name. I think it's Ceretta. Someone else says Ceretta. So we'll see. Okay, here you are. Perfect. Let's come on up. Go ahead and hit that invite. Now, if you're on a tablet, not a tablet, a laptop or computer, it's not going to let you on the panel. So you have to be on a tablet or a phone. So let's make sure you're on a tablet or a phone to come up. Hello, everybody. Make sure y'all coming in, sharing out the live, tapping the screen, send your daily heart meme. And we're going to have a good town hall tonight with Miss Smith from Georgia's 12th District. All right. Welcome in. All right. So she may have to have, Georgia's in the house. Okay, Georgia, District 7. Yes, let's get your phone and then you can come up. It's not going to let you, which I think is crazy. Like, why can't I go on my computer? That is the craziest thing. I don't know why. Georgia's in the house. I heard y'all had a vote. Was that yesterday, y'all? Yesterday there was some voting happening in Georgia. Was there a primary or a special election in Georgia yesterday? Yep. You predicting Sean Harris takes it in the runoff? Okay. So I'm gonna send it to you now. Hold on one second. All right. So I sent that out to you. Boom. There we go. Hello. Welcome.
Well, hello. I'm trying to figure out
Okay, so when you
how
get
I
you
see
click
that I'm
the
here, but my
camera
camera.
button and then make sure you hit save. There you go. Yes. Hello. Is this Sharita?
Ceretta.
It's Ceretta. Oh, I lost the bet. Hello, Miss Ceretta. How are you doing today?
Hello. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good
I
myself.
tell
I'm
people that
Melanie. You excited?
nice to meet you, Melanie.
Yes.
I am. And I tell people the easiest way to remember my name, and I'm gonna tell you my age now. If you remember a television show called Beretta,
Beretta.
and
Well, I was thinking
it
Loretta.
was a police show, and he had a parrot he used to put on his shoulder.
I'm,
Or the
I'm
car. There used to be a car called Beretta. So instead
unfortunately
of Beretta,
unfortunately I'm old enough to remember it too.
so it's Beretta. Instead of Beretta, It's Ceretta.
Ceretta. All right, Miss Ceretta. I got it. Let me see here. All right, let's get going here. Miss Ceretta, I'm going to let you know and everyone else know who are tuning in right now. Make sure y'all tapping that screen, sharing this out so the good people of Georgia's 12th district can come in here and listen to what Miss Ceretta has to say and why they should vote for her. But let me tell you about us. We are OVC, Our Vote Counts, a nonpartisan coalition of citizens from diverse states, backgrounds, united by a shared commitment to empowering voters, promoting candidates who stand for integrity, inclusion, and accountability in the upcoming elections through voter education, candidate outreach, and community engagement. We support leaders who are ready to serve the people, not special interests. By working across state lines and elevating local and national issues, we aim to increase voter turnout, inform public dialogue, and build momentum for lasting change. Our Vote Counts is more than a name. It's a promise, it's a movement, and a rallying cry for democracy. Together, we are shaping the future, one informed vote at a time. So again, thank you all for joining us tonight. We are here talking with Miss Ceretta Smith, who is running for Georgia's 12th district. And that district includes the Augusta area. We are doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 counties, y'all. 12. That's a lot of people.
24.
24
It's 24 counties. Yes,
in your
ma'am.
district?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, excuse me. There was even more people. That's even more people. All right, so 24 districts in her county. She's about 50% white, 50% everyone else, which makes for much diversity, believe it or not. You got a large military presence there in that area, and income basis is a little bit all over the place too. So we are seeing that you would like to run for the U.S. House of Representatives seat. What made you want to do that?
So I tell people that first, this is a calling. I ran my first campaign when I was in 6th grade. And from middle school to high school to college, I've always been engaged in government, student body government, some form of government. Working for the federal government, I became a union leader. And a part of what we do with the union is we get involved in the legislative process because a lot of legislation that's written in the budget, it surrounds the federal government. And so I first started working in the legislative process with my union. And the former congressman for this district was Congressman John Barrow, and we worked very well with him. He lost his seat in 2015, and we started to engage the current incumbent. And every year we go to the Capitol. I was just there in February of this year. And as it would be, very rarely do we ever get a chance to meet with the incumbent. Most of the time we meet with an aide. And in 2015, I left that meeting and I didn't feel like we were heard. We were there advocating for veterans and federal government employees and working Georgians. And it was more like I'm going to check the box. I met with them next. And so I walked out of that office in 2015 and I said, one day I'm going to run for that seat. I didn't know enough then. I needed to be processed and prepared and trained and developed as a leader. And so I believe this is my Esther season. That's what I like to call it. I'm here.
That's right.
And this is the time. And so I am stepping up to do what I've already been doing. But now to be the person that the people of Georgia's 12 can count on. Yes, ma'am. So I've had this in my vision for a long time, but now's the time to do it.
Absolutely. Now is the time. Well, let me tell you what a little bit I found out about you. You are a U.S. Army veteran, um, community leader, and longtime Georgian resident rooted in the Augusta area region. You are a wife and a mother of 3 children. And your family life has shaped your commitment to service and community advocacy. After your time in service, you remain active locally, serving in civic roles and community leadership positions. Supporters often describe your drive as that you're driven by service, joy, and faith-based values, which is reflected in your campaign motto, Vision, Service, Joy. Your public work has focused on uplifting families and giving voice to communities you feel have been overlooked. So thank you for your service. Thank you for your commitment to the community. And let's get going with this town hall. So what I'm going to do, we have 5 topics that we will go over. In between those 5 topics, we're going to do what I call a rapid fire. And it's going to be questions that have quick 1-word or yes or no answers to the questions, just to kind of break up the monotony of all these questions. So it makes it a little fun. So our first topic we're going to go to is defending democracy and our rights, okay? So you've emphasized defending democratic rights and giving people a voice. In Georgia's 12th district, where many rural and Black voters have faced long travel times to polling places, what federal voting right protections would you prioritize to make participation easier across your counties?
That's a great question. And, we have been fighting for them to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. And so I'm going to be a champion for that. I got an opportunity to meet John Lewis. I got an opportunity to sit in his office and listen to his stories. And so I'm always about getting in good trouble. And what I think people need to understand is the reason why it hasn't passed is because we don't have the numbers. And so there was a time when bipartisan collaboration was something that was strong. And our bipartisan collaboration has been weakened under this administration. And so we find ourselves with the House and the Senate, in my opinion, of people who know what the right thing is to do, but who just don't have the backbone to do the right thing because their loyalty is not to the people that elected them, but their loyalty is to a particular party ideology or a person. And so in reality, unless we take the House and the Senate back, I don't see these protections being passed into legislation. That's the truth. So I don't want to tell people, oh, if you elect me, as soon as I get to Congress, that voting right, those voting rights, that legislation is going to be changed. If we don't take the House, and if we don't take the Senate, even if I get there, I'm going to be loud. I'm going to get in good trouble. I'm going to stand on what I heard John Lewis say in his office that day I got to be there. I'm going to stand on that. But if we don't take the House and the Senate, it just vote. And it's not about party. It cannot. I'm running for all people. I'm running for Democrats, Republicans, and independents. It's about humanity, right? And everybody in this country has the right to vote, and to not have their vote. You've got the SAVE Act now. All of these things is voter suppression. And so getting there, building those relationships, collaborating, hopefully taking the House and the Senate, and that should be one of the first pieces of legislation that we sign into law.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing. That sounds like what needs to be done. And I'm with you. I say it all the time. It's like, yeah, you can come say all that you would like to do, but if you don't have the majority backing you, it is futile. So I'm with you on that.
And unfortunately, before, when our friends, I hate to say on the other side, because we should all be on one side. It's the side of the American people, because that's who elects us. But unfortunately, our friends who used to do the right thing, at this time, they're just not doing the right thing, and that's why it's time for them to go.
Absolutely. Now, your district is about 36% Black, as we said, and majority minority in several counties. Yet many residents feel disconnected from federal decision making. What democracy reforms do you believe are needed so communities like Augusta and rural East Central Georgia feel fully represented and heard?
It starts with the budget. As congressional leaders, as elected representatives for the House, there's several things that we do. We write laws, we co-sponsor laws, and we vote on legislation, right? The other thing that we're responsible for is the budget. And the budget should reflect the people. And that's been the problem. The budget has not been reflective of the needs of the people. The budget has cut funding that's there to support the needs of the people in order to make the rich wealthy, the wealthier more rich, the rich more wealthy. I don't know if that was proper English. And so I can be a voice there in Congress, ensuring that that budget, that the things that are needed in my district, healthcare, infrastructure, farmers, our agricultural community, education, all of those things, our veterans, our federal government workers, all of those things that are needed, it is housed in the budget. And when you have a representative that votes against the interest of his people, when they vote for a budget that strips funding, that's problematic. That's problematic. And so it starts with that budget. We've got to make sure that the budget looks like and represents the needs of the people.
Absolutely. Now, as a veteran and longtime civil rights advocate, how would you work in Congress to protect constitutional rights like equal protection, fair treatment under the law for working families, veterans, and marginalized communities in your region?
So that's kind of like a two-part, because when you're talking about veterans, and then you talk about people that are not veterans. And so I think right now our veterans are under attack. We just saw legislation a couple of weeks ago where they changed one of the CFR. They modified one of the CFRs to try and strip veterans of their disability percentage ratings if they're taking medication and they feel better or they look better. Yep. And so even had a chance to ask this question of Senator Ossoff. And so it's going to take us coming together in the House and the Senate and passing legislation that's going to protect our veterans from these types of anti-veteran pieces of legislation. They say they're for the veterans, but they're steady doing things behind our back and trying to slip in legislation, gutting the funding for our VA hospitals. They are now saying that they're not going to fill some 35 positions that have been vacant for years. And all of these things have an impact on how quickly our veterans get care. It puts a strain on the workers who are having to do more, work more hours, put in more overtime. So then that creates family work-life balance issues for them. And so having a veteran there, having someone who actually gets their care at the VA and understands how the VA works and the importance of the VA to veterans is going to be key in making sure that we frame legislation that's going to really protect our veterans and make sure that the bad actors are not able to slide legislation in that's going to harm our veterans. Now, when you start talking about, I believe the second part of what was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
About marginalized communities.
Yeah, it goes back to the budget.
Yeah.
Honestly, it goes back to the budget, because without the funding to fund programs, to give grants, to help with infrastructure, because big business is not coming where there's no infrastructure. Big business is not coming where there is no internet and Wi-Fi and broadband. And so it really all goes back to the budget. Being able to make sure that for my district, I'm securing the money that they need to make sure they have the resources that they need to implement the programs to help people come up, to lift people up out of poverty, to provide opportunities for our children, to be able to partner with our technical colleges and things like that. So that's the honest answer. It goes
It
back
is.
to that budget.
It is. But I mean, I think one of the things though that we don't talk about is how to make sure that the money is getting to what it needs to. You could go in there and yes, you pass the bill that says each state gets $5 billion towards infrastructure. And that money goes to the state. Now it gets to Georgia, and Governor Kemp decides he want to do whatever he want with it. Like how do you do that? Now, before you answer that, I just want to remind everyone that you can request up to ask any questions of Miss Ceretta, and or you can put the questions in the chat. But trust me, come on up, ask your questions, hit the request button, and you can come up and ask your questions. But again, how do you make sure that that money gets to where it needs to be, where it's supposed to be?
Well, some money does go directly to the state, but as a representative, we do have fiscal oversight over some federal dollars. One of the things that I love about Senator Warnock and Senator Ossoff, when I was a city council member, whenever they received funding or whenever they got funding or when or were able to get funding for affordable housing or certain things, they would always email us as local leaders, and they would let us know, I have secured $5 billion for X, Y, and Z. This is the process. This is the process that you go through to be able to tap into those resources. And so building, of course, I want to establish relationships with our, state representatives and our state senators and our governor and all of those leaders at the state level, because we all have to work together. But those federal dollars that are in my hands and specifically in my purview, I want to make sure that I am alerting local government leaders. These are the resources. This is how you get access to it. And that the people that work on my team, we're following through, we're helping, because that's what I've seen in them as my senators. They follow through. They let you know where it is, how to get it. And then they have people here on the ground that are following through, that are making sure, that you're getting the help that you need to be able to gain access to those resources. So it's being intentional, letting people know that there is money, how to get the money, and then following through to make sure that they've been able to get the money. And if they have any problems, being able to assist them and to help them, and making sure that they get the help that they need so that they can get the resources that they need.
Absolutely. Thank you for that answer. So we do have someone who has a question for you. Smokey, welcome to the panel.
Hi, thank you very much. Hope you're all having a great day.
All right. What is your question for Miss Ceretta?
Well, what I'm trying to do is help us try to win a little bit better. I agree with the things that you're saying, but what I find with Democrats is we don't use the structure of government correctly. And we have failed at what I would say the wordplay of politics. And so it's because we've been indoctrinated so hard into things, to misunderstanding. And if you don't mind, I'll ask you a couple of the basic questions that I would do. Again, this isn't trying to be negative, because I'll try to help and explain why in a moment. If I were to ask, are you an American citizen? What would your answer be?
Yes, I was born in.
Yeah.
Yes, I was
These will
born
sound
in
very
Fort
simple.
Bragg, in Womack.
Yeah.
I was born in Womack Army Hospital in Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. How many articles and amendments are in the Constitution?
Oh gosh, articles and amendments. You coming hard tonight.
No, I'm coming in with the simplest
I
thing.
just took a government class. Yeah.
When was the country
get back
founded?
to you.
What year was the country founded?
Oh my goodness.
I know these sound like simple questions, but I'll explain why. So you're running for United States House of Representatives. Article 1, Section 2, you have to be at least 7 years a citizen of the United States, or 5 years, I believe it is. So you think you're an American citizen.
Okay.
You served in the United States military. You think you're an American citizen, meaning you think America is a country. You're running for
Absolutely.
Congress telling me
Yes, I'm an
you're a
American.
citizen of the United States. Citizen of the United States.
Uh-huh.
Words matter. Words matter. The Constitution was written in 1787, ratified 1788 due to Article 6, when 9 states ratified it, came into effect 1789.
All right. Well, I
Okay, so
guess
we were
someone
founded in
said that
July
we wasn't
1776.
we wasn't here for a civics class.
I mean, we were founded in July 1776.
Uh-oh.
Was born in 1960. Why would I not be a citizen, Smokey? I want to know.
I think what he was trying to say, which I have actually said myself, that I do feel like we may need. I mean, the right to vote is definitely something that we inherit as being a citizen born here in these here United States. But it would be very interesting to find out how many people could pass the citizenship test that the immigrants have to pass before they
Oh,
vote.
is that what he was
I
trying?
think that's what he
Okay,
was trying to get
that's
to.
fair. I think that's absolutely fair because I think that the average person, if you were to ask them, "Are you an American citizen?" I mean, I'm like, yeah. I think if you would ask the average citizen, when was the country founded? I don't think the
They would have
average
the
citizen
answer.
could tell you that.
Yeah. And I think that's what he was
And I
trying to
think if
get
you
to.
I think if you would ask the average citizen, how many articles does the Constitution contain? I don't think the average citizen would know that. I certainly will know it after today. But I understand. I think if we're going to get to immigration, the immigration policy, Dom. So I think maybe we need to revamp when we're revamping our immigration policy. Maybe this is something that we need to revamp, like the criteria and the process that people have to go through in order to become citizens of this country. Because the questions that he asked, I don't believe the average citizen would know those. It goes back to the voting rights. It goes back to my union leader, rest in peace, Augustus Thomas, and she used to tell the story about how her family could not read, and when they would go to vote, they would have this jar with the jelly beans or the beans in them,
Yep.
and they had to guess the number of beans in the jar to vote, and or they would give them a piece of paper and they had to help them memorize a certain verbiage, and they would sit there and they had to practice reading it as if they knew what they were reading, so that it wouldn't be discovered that they couldn't read, but that they had memorized the text in order to be able to vote. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's something we need to revamp. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Smoke, I'm a citizen, and there's nothing you can. I am an American citizen, and there's nothing that you're gonna tell me that's gonna change that. Don't
I
come on here
mean,
trying to play with my mind.
right. Fortunately for us, we didn't make the rules, and the rules state I am an American citizen when I'm born here, and that's it, and that's all. I don't have to take the test. I don't even have to know who the first president was. I'm still an American citizen, and I can vote and run for Congress without knowing that information.
And I'm not embarrassed about it because the average person does not know it, but I will know
Absolutely.
it.
All right. So again, anyone have any questions out there, you always can request up. Please make it a question and not a quiz. And we will definitely get your
I love you,
questions
Smoke.
answered. So the next topic we're going to go into is healthcare. So you've emphasized protecting rural healthcare across Georgia. 9 rural hospitals have closed since 2010. Including facilities serving East Central counties in your district. What federal actions would you prioritize to keep hospitals and care access stable for communities outside of Augusta?
Well, first, I would support any types of programs that help place doctors, nurses, and mental health professionals in rural communities. Programs like the National Health Service Corps. It provides student loans, forgiveness to healthcare professionals who commit to serving in these underserved areas. Second, I think we need to strengthen our rural clinics and hospitals. So I would be an advocate for us increasing support for federally qualified health centers, which give primary care in communities that otherwise wouldn't have access to these medical providers. And third, I think telehealth is very important. It could be a major solution for rural communities, I believe. So I would work to ensure that there was permanent funding, expanded coverage for telehealth services through the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, while also investing in the rural broadband, because that will be probably the roadblock. The rural broadband will be the roadblock, because even as I'm traveling through the 24 counties, sometimes I lose my signal. And we're out in the middle of nowhere. And so making sure that we invest in rural broadband so that patients can actually have the access to those services. It's no point in having the telehealth care if they can't access their through their cell phone or their computer the like what we're doing on tonight. And finally, we got to invest in the healthcare workforce pipeline. We got to partner with medical schools, nursing programs. We're right here. Richmond County Augusta is, one of the medical centers of our state. We have the Medical College of Georgia here. We have the dental school here. So we got to start partnering with these medical schools, nursing programs, the technical colleges. We just lost an amazing president, Dr. Worrell. He's now the president at Savannah State, but he did a lot with partnering with the Augusta University, Augusta Healthcare, these Aiken, South Carolina, partnering with them to help get the nursing program going. And we've got to create incentives for students, right? We got to incentivize students from rural communities. We're tired of our young people leaving, going away, and not coming back.
Right.
And so we've got to provide these incentives to them, for communities to train them, and for them to return home and to serve their own communities, because everybody deserves quality health care. Health care is not a privilege. It is a human right. And no matter where you live, you should be able to have access to health care. And it really bothers me when I travel the district. There's one particular incident where I heard about a coroner picked up someone. The person was deceased. And unfortunately, when they did the autopsy, the person had like a glucose of like 1,000 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they died. They went into a diabetic coma. The person wasn't even aware that they were diabetic.
Oh, wow.
Because they didn't have access. Yeah. And so the coroner's like, you don't have to convince me, because I pick up the bodies. And if they had preventative health care, routine, annual physicals, think where they just drawing your blood, checking your blood pressure, they can pick up a lot of things in those routine type of physicals and healthcare. But people in rural areas don't have that. I'm concerned about veterans that are in rural areas that don't have access to the healthcare as well.
Well, that goes actually into my next question, which talks about uninsured rates still exceed about 15% in especially in the rural counties. So what healthcare reforms would you push in Congress to lower cost and expand coverage for the families in the region?
Well, one of the things that I know needs to happen here in Georgia, and it should have happened a long time ago, was the expansion of Medicaid. If our governor would expand Medicaid, there's about 500,000 uninsured people in Georgia that don't have health care. Medicaid expansion, which is federal dollars, it's no cost to the state, would give over 500,000 people access to health care. So that's the first piece. And I know that's at a state level. I'll talk about some federal level things first. Right. But that will solve a lot of problems for not just Georgia's 12th congressional district, but a lot of Georgians in this state. It would also help in the rural communities because if you're creating, you expand Medicaid and you start building clinics or hospitals or refurbishing some of those hospitals that have been closed because the majority of their money comes from Medicaid, right? Then now you've got doctors, you've got ER, you've got janitors, you've got security guards. Now you're bringing jobs to the area, right? And so now we're seeing some economic growth and some economic development. And when businesses see economic growth and development coming to a region, so now they want to come in and be a part of that. So now that's creating more jobs. So Medicaid expansion is going to create jobs. It's going to give people access to health care, and then it's going to create that economic growth and development that many of our rural areas need. Now, one of the thing that I think that I could do is increase federal support programs that are designed to help stabilize hospitals, and that comes through grants, that comes through emergency funding for hospitals that need it, to modernize their equipment, right? Maintain their staff, right? And to continue operating underserved communities. Second, we need to expand the reimbursement for telehealth and rural health services so that hospitals and clinics can provide more efficiently without losing revenue. We see a lot of loss in revenue because the reimbursement for telehealth, it sometimes lacks, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. Third, we can advocate for workforce programs that, again, bring more doctors, bring more nurses, more specialties, more specialists. If you live in the rural district, if you're a woman that's pregnant, you got to travel 45 minutes to an hour for OBGYN for prenatal care, right? And to find an OBGYN. And so imagine, you had a baby, you go into labor and you've got to go 45 minutes to an hour. A lot can happen in 45 minutes to an hour. True story. Lady goes into labor into a rural area. They call an ambulance because she's having complications. Well, that ambulance service multiple rural counties. That ambulance was out on another call, right? And the husband puts the wife in the car to try to drive her to the nearest hospital where she can get the care that she needs. Mommy and baby die on the way. And Georgia has the highest maternal mortality rate, one of the highest in the entire country. We're like in the top 5. And the demographic of people who are most impacted by that are African American women. And so we got to treat rural health care as essential. And just like roads and school, rural health care needs to be treated the same way. And so my goal when I get elected to Congress is to make sure that we have the funding, that I fight for the funding, and that I work with the governor and other leaders to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that everybody in Georgia's 12 has access to health care. I can't hear you. I
had myself on mute. I'm sorry. I had myself on mute. So we've done over 120 town halls. And I would probably say 100 of them, everyone said Medicare for all, universal health care. You didn't say that, which I find interesting.
Oh, I believe in.
Okay.
Oh no, I believe in universal health care.
Okay.
I have traveled the world, and I have gone to countries where I don't care if you're poor, the poorest, the richest of the rich. Everybody has access to health care. Nobody has to worry about health care ever. I think for us to be as an advanced a country as we are, I don't understand why we're not operating on that same premise. It's really I understand why. We don't have the votes. If we had the votes, we could get it done. But there's some people that really believe healthcare is a privilege. And that's what we're fighting. The rich believe that they're entitled, they're privileged to it, they have the money, they can afford it. And so they don't understand what a $300 urgent care bill means, or a $30,000 surgery means a lifetime of debt and a family having to file bankruptcy.
Or
$30,000 for them is like $3.
Or $1,000 ambulance ride. Like you, no, don't call no.
Or
Don't call the
$1,000
ambulance.
ambulance ride.
Don't call the ambulance.
Been there, done that. Listen, I understand. When I turned, I want to say 24, 25, my dad came home one day and he said, I can no longer carry you on my health care insurance. And mind you, I didn't have a full-time job, so I didn't have health care. So when I got sick, I had to go to the urgent care. That $300 bill was like $30,000, right? And so every day I'm praying, I don't fall, I don't get hurt, I don't get sick, because I didn't have health care. I understand. And so that's why it boggles my mind when we talk about the Affordable Health Care Act. Is it a perfect system? No, it's not. But guess what? It's what we have to make sure that the least among us, that if your child wakes up with appendicitis, right? Like my niece did, and didn't have insurance. And by the time we got her to the hospital, her whole system was poisoned. She was septic. She lived, but these are the types of real things that I'm talking about, that the wealthy and the elite who believe healthcare is a privilege, they don't understand. They can't relate. They can't connect to it.
Absolutely, 100%. Okay, so it's a lot we could go into healthcare, and we know that at the bottom line, it needs some reforming needs to happen with our healthcare system here in the United States. It doesn't make sense that we are funding countries who have universal health care and we don't. That doesn't even make any sense at all.
Absolutely. So, I agree with you 100%.
Okay, so we're going to go into my first rapid fire. And these questions are a little political in nature. So we're going to start off with term limits. Yes or no?
Absolutely. I am a part of BACPAC. BACPAC is a newly established PAC. It is comprised of congressional candidates from all over the United States of America. We will be in D.C. on Tuesday and Wednesday, standing on Capitol Hill. We have 5 pillars, and that first pillar is congressional term limits. 2 years for the House, 2 year, 2 2-year terms for the House, and 2 6-year terms for the Senate. Absolutely.
So y'all want to change the House term limits to 6 years instead of just 2?
No, 6 2-year terms.
6 2-year terms. Okay. 6 2-year terms.
So
and
basically
2
12
6-year
years for the
terms.
House. 12 years, yeah.
Got you.
Because,
all right.
I don't think our founding fathers ever intended for people to be, to become career politicians.
Right.
20, 30 years. It's too long. And in the Army, when we would get a new commander, if he or she was like a bad commander, we didn't sweat it, because we knew in 2 years you're gonna be gone. And so that's why we need term limits, because if you're a bad actor and you don't go there and do the work of the people, right? We don't even have to worry about trying to vote you out, because we know in so many years you will be gone.
Well, that's how we know they didn't intend that, because they only made the term for 2 years. Now, if you didn't, now that part then falls on us. We're not doing our job. If this person is not meeting the criteria, get them up out of there. They only got 2 years. They're out of there. Next person's in. But we're not doing our job, and we letting people skate by.
I agree.
We know they didn't
Yeah.
intend for people to stay in there forever because you only got a 2-year term. Like, next.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Wait. What should we fix? What should we be fixing first in the United States? Roads or public transit? Because we don't have
Well,
that trains and all, like, you can go, you
it
can do train
depends.
some. Go ahead.
So if you're speaking, are you asking it across the United States, or are you talking about my district in specific?
That's in your district.
It's got to be the roads. It's definitely infrastructure. The reason why we don't have a more advanced transit system is because the infrastructure is not built to sustain it. So we've got to work on our infrastructure, our roads, and things like that. So for Georgia's 12, it's definitely the roads, the infrastructure.
Okay. Good. Should there be more SCOTUS seats?
No.
No.
This was a question that was asked last night at a meet and greet that I was at. And it goes back to what you said. I don't think we need more SCOTUS seats. I think we need to get out and vote. Because if we have bad actors in the House and the Senate that are passing funky and crazy legislation, that are doing all these things, and that's all the way to the president, we have the power to vote them out and put the right people in there who are going to steer us on course and do what is in the best interest of the people that have elected them to be there. I think because we stack it, then the power shifts, and then that person. So now we're just playing this game. We got to get back to understanding, like, women. I'm talking to women now, right? There was a time when women could not vote.
Right.
And we fought for the right to vote. I can't think of my lady's name, but they marched and they rallied and they came together and they fought for us as women to have the right to vote. Black people, our ancestors died so that we can have the right to vote. How dare we as women, how dare we as people of color not get out and exercise our right to vote and let our voice be heard? That's where the power is. That's where it was always intended to be, to give it back to the people. And so if we stack and they stack and it's just, I think it will open Pandora's box.
Absolutely.
And it'll be a cycle that's vicious.
I agree. Should we tax the rich more or cut taxes for everyone?
Tax the rich. Absolutely.
Okay.
When Warren Buffett when I pay more taxes than Warren Buffett, that's a problem.
Look, I hear every time everyone says this, and I'll be like, but I want lower taxes. So
well, I mean, you know what? I think that if we raise the taxes on the wealthy and they pay their share, then we can lower the taxes, right? But because we won't make them do what they need to do and what they're supposed to do and what they ought to do and what they have the means to do, the burden, we're shouldering the burden. The middle class, working people, we're shouldering the burden. We need to put the burden back where it needs to be. And when we do that, then that opens the door for us to get those tax breaks that we so rightfully deserve.
Absolutely. Federal or state, who should control education?
Federal government.
Full stop.
Because I think it needs to be the same across the board. I think if you put it back into the hands of the state, this state will do this state will do that, this state will have this state will have that. When it's controlled by the federal government, it's one policy, it's one procedure, it's one way of doing business, and it covers all the states. And I think if you put it completely in the hands of the states, we're going to see a lot of things. You know, some of us, they're going to try to take us back. You know, it's going to be a lot of things that, and it's going to create a lot of problems. And so I think if it's mandated and regulated by the federal government, then it'll be better.
I agree. Now, so here's a little, I'm not test, but something you may face when you get to Congress. A bill is proposed to give $10 million. Huh?
Is this still rapid fire?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. So a bill is proposed for you given they're given in the bill you can give 10 million to education. Each state, each district gets 10 million towards education. However, in this bill also includes that they get to put the 10 commandments in the schools. Are you yay or nay on that bill?
I would need to research. I think most schools have a lot of schools have the 10 commandments in them. No. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about federal buildings. The 10 commandments. I believe that, and this was the case in my home, was my responsibility to teach my children about my faith. I don't think it's the principal's responsibility. I don't think it's the teacher's responsibility. I think it's my responsibility to teach my children about my faith.
Exactly.
And I don't want that in the hands of somebody else, because somebody might explain thou shalt not kill may mean you just don't kill certain people. I mean, the interpretation of each one of the commands, it could be different based on your interpretation of the scripture. And so for me, I think we waste a lot of time arguing about, let's talk about making sure that our Title I schools where, our children come to school and they're hungry. Let's talk about making sure our kids can have healthy lunches. Let's talk about making sure
we're gonna talk about that in my next topic.
Okay. So for me, it's a no. Because I believe it's my responsibility, right, to train up. I'm gonna go Bible on you. The Bible says, "Train up a child in the way they should go."
Right.
He's talking to the parents, not the school.
I know, but now the districts don't get $10 million.
Well, I'm gonna be fighting. I'm gonna fight. We just gonna be there all night. We'll be there a couple days till I have my way.
I hear you. You're gonna be faced with some stuff like that. I promise you. Where they're gonna put in the good stuff, but then throw in some crazy stuff.
I will honestly come back and I would talk to the people of my district and I would say, listen, because I'm here to speak for you. If you all want me to sign this legislation, I'm here. I'll sign it. It's what if this is what the majority of you want me to do, then that's what I would do.
That's a great
because
answer.
at the end of the day, I'm not there just for me. But I'm in the Bible Belt, so I kind of felt like maybe that's where people would go. But I would really, honestly, I would come back and say, hey, this is the bill that I'm faced with. We can get this money, but this has to be a part of it. Yay or nay, whatever y'all tell me to do, that's what I'm gonna do. The majority.
That's a great answer. Okay, so we're gonna try to get past these 3 in one word. Okay. Biggest issue facing your community.
Healthcare.
Okay. One word to describe your leadership style.
Relational.
Okay. And if you had a campaign song, theme song,
I have one.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to ask who's going to sing it, but you have one. So give us the song and then tell us who's going to sing it.
It's called "Stand Up for the People," and it is sung by my Jamaican brother, DJ OPEC. and I probably said his name wrong. I call him Deke. And it talks about me and how I stand up for the people and what in my union work, my veteran work. Yeah, it's really cool.
Okay. All right. Well, she got her theme song ready, y'all. Stand up for the people. Yes. We're going to hear it on Spotify soon. So the next topic we have is Veterans Affairs. I see we got a little delay, so just bear with us, y'all. You worked as a liaison at Eisenhower Army Medical Center and have advocated for veterans family in the Augusta area who still report long waits for some VA specialty care. What federal changes would you push to improve timely access for veterans in Georgia's 12th district?
Well, it goes back to the budget.
Goes back to the budget.
Because right now there are 35,000 jobs that have not been filled. And it has been that way for probably, a number of years. And so fully funding the VA, number one, is the answer to making sure that our veterans get specialty care in a timely manner. Too often we are finding ourselves now, me, for example, I needed to get an injection and I called in December, August, and they said the earliest appointment that we have is November. And I said, are you serious? And they said, well, we can always send you out. Well, I don't want to go out. I trust the doctor that I have built a rapport with. I trust the doctor that when I walk in, he asks me how my kids are by name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's been my doctor since I was in the military. He got out and now he's a civilian and he's working at the VA. And so people, if you're not a veteran, you don't understand the veteran community and what it means to go in and your doctor is a veteran. Your doctor fought in Iraq. Your doctor fought in Desert Shield. Your doctor, it has a complete different impact on the overall well-being and healthcare of our service members. And so fighting for that budget, making sure that they're not cutting our budget, that they're fully funding our positions. And listen, Senator Ossoff is up there doing just that.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage people to go look at the clip of him questioning the VA secretary. I mean, he drilled him down. And so that's what we need. Somebody who understands how the VA healthcare system works, the struggles of veterans, and someone that's going to sit there, ask the right questions, and fight for our service members.
Now, do you think that there has been enough resources made available for veterans to transition back into civilian life? Do you think that that issue has been addressed properly?
So I worked as a physical evaluation board liaison officer. We called ourselves PEBLOS for short. I worked in the Wounded Warriors Transition Battalion. And basically I was like a social worker, but not in a nurse capacity, but I helped wounded service members or service members with terminally ill diseases or sickness or mental health who were no longer fit transition from the Army life into the civilian life. Mm-hmm. And so the big part of that process is making sure they go through the disability process in a timely manner. And so we did that on the Army side, and then we worked in collaboration with the VA to make sure that service members get their VA rating before they get out as well, so that by the time they have fully transitioned and they're out, if they're retiring, they have both their retirement check and their disability check. And so I know when I was doing that work, I'm retired now. I retired last year. I think we did a pretty good job of making sure that those ratings got through. I had one service member, he had just had a newborn baby, and he had some type of kidney problem, and he had to get out. He could no longer run. And his thing came back and it said 10%. I said, no way. You got a newborn baby. You need your 30% because you need that ID card. And so I fought for him to make sure that he got that 30%, which means he got to have an ID card, which means he gets to get TRICARE healthcare for him and his family. And so I think we do a pretty good job of doing that. We do have agencies within the Army and the VA that do help service members transition. I think we do a pretty good job of that. I really do. It's
right.
more of the healthcare and the disability that we're lacking in.
The healthcare and the disability. What about mental health resources?
That part as well. I've lost service members to suicide.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about the VA suicide crisis hotline that the big beautiful bill cut funding.
Yeah.
And the VA suicide crisis hotline had a higher percentage of success rate than our country's civilian suicide hotline.
Yeah.
And they cut funding.
That's a tricky word for hold on 1 second. That's a tricky word for TikTok. So just say S side, the S side rate. The TikTok don't like that word. Yes.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not TikTok savvy. I know on the live. So now I'm a new one. S side.
Yes.
Okay, S side. So they cut funding. And so what that in turn means is that crisis hotline, there's nobody sitting there to get the call.
Yeah.
And so again, those are the types of things like I'm connected. I know these things. And we got to have somebody there to fight. No, you don't cut funding for that, right? When our veterans pick up a phone when they're in a crisis and they need to talk to somebody, right? We made them a promise that we would take care of them. And when they call, somebody needs to be on the other end of that line to pick it up. True story. Was at work and they came running to my office and they said, there's a service member on the phone and she's threatening that word that you said. I can't remember what it was.
S side. And
she will only talk to you. S side. She will only talk to you. I go to the phone and while I'm on the phone saying, hey, talk to me. They've called the S side crisis hotline for the VA. And they are getting the necessary resources, social worker, EMS. They're getting everybody lined up to head to her house. And I stay on the phone with her until they get everybody there and they get there. And we saved her life that day. And you want to tell me that you want to cut funding? No, ma'am.
I know. One of our team members, hold on, this probably her coming up. I knew it was. I was just going to tell you about our team member here, Miss Bianca, who was working in the medical billing department for the VA, and she was doged last year.
Don't start talking about Doge.
She's a disabled veteran. And it's like, these are the people you're supposed to be looking out for, not trying to cut off. Now, see, you're not up here yet.
The American Federation of Government Employees, that's my union. And we have been fighting for all of our union brothers and sisters. And what people don't realize is about 65%, I believe that's the number, of people that work for the VA are veterans. And so when you cut their jobs, you're cutting veterans' jobs. And so our union, I don't know if she's a member of the AFGE or not, but we have been fighting, our National VA Council, we have been fighting to make sure that we're doing everything we can to protect. And that the first thing that the president did when he got back into office, the first time he got elected, the first thing that he did when he got into office was he stripped us of our collective bargaining rights. He stripped our union of our rights to represent people in the workplace. When he got elected this time, that's the first thing he did, because they understand without our union, they can dismantle the federal government the way that they want. But because our union is there, we have been that guardrail. We're the last man standing, keeping them from dismantling the federal government completely in the manner that they wanted to do it. And we won't stop fighting. We're going to continue to fight. And again, I understand how this whole federal government thing works. And I understand what it takes as far as the union is concerned, because we keep them in checks and balances a lot of the times. And yeah, a lot of my friends lost their jobs too. My nephew had just come back from Germany, accepted a position in the USAISD or USAID, and he was going to go to school to be a ambassador, so that when they go to the foreign countries to take aid and medicine and all those things, he walked up to the door of his building and it was padlocked.
Wow.
Doge padlocked the door. So yeah, I understand. Absolutely. And
Well,
we
let's
don't
see
know
what
all
she.
that Doge has done. We don't know all that Doge has done. That's
We
why we
don't.
got to go there. And so we can see everything that they've done.
Absolutely. Well, let me hear what she came up here to ask you, service person to service person. I thank you both, and I love it that it's women for your service. Miss Bianca, welcome to the panel.
Hey, how are you? I'm gonna put my camera on. How are you?
Thank you for your service.
The same to you too. Thanks, Butter. How you doing?
All right.
That's good. Thank you so much for standing up for us. My internet was going in and out, and Butter probably told you about my story too, as being Doge and also being a disabled veteran. Is there a way to streamline and to have a conduit for people who fall in the cracks that are going to transition? Because there's some people that do go through it, and there's some people who fall from the cracks. And what I mean by falling through the cracks is that there are some services that people don't know nothing about until they get out, and then they hear from their friend, hey, you can do, this with your taxes, you can do this with your vehicle, you can do this with your, your home and things of that nature. So is there like a, I don't want to use the word safety net because, I was thrown out the window, but is there a way to catch the people, our veterans who are not getting an earful? Because it's really interesting how most, not gonna mention any names or anything else, get most of the information and some do not. They get spots of information. So is there where you can improve that for that to decrease in people falling through the cracks?
So I know that, when people retire or they PCS or they ETS, when they retire or ETS or they're medically bored, there are, and I know exactly what you're talking about, because when I ETS out of the Army, I was in Germany. And it was 10 years later before I even got my VA card and even got plugged into the VA healthcare system, because I didn't know that I could. I didn't think that I was eligible because nobody told me. Nobody, in my exit briefing, and I forget what they call them now. My memory, I can't remember what they call them, but there's a name for them when you're retiring or you're ETSing and you go through that briefing. And so I think we've got to go back to our military installations and look at the processes of when people go through their exit interviews, like what that checklist is.
That out
What's on that check?
processing. Yeah.
Out processing. There you go. That's the word. Out processing. And so that's it. It's been a long time. But when they're out processing, that checklist and making sure that all of that information is on there. You're right. It's so many services. My girlfriend, she's learning how to play the guitar. She's taking all kinds of, because there's this program. She has a coach, a life coach. Like, all of these services are being provided by the VA. People were getting massages. I was like,
Yep.
oh, we can get if you have. So there's lots of services, and so I think it's on the active duty side as you're transitioning out, revamping or looking at the checklist and the information and making sure that everything is there. And then on the VA side, making sure that when people come through the door, they're getting, if they don't have that because the pamphlet has everything in it. It
Yes, it
really does.
does. Hmm.
But I never got one.
Me neither.
I
I had
never
to take
got
one for my dad. I had to take one for not my dad, God bless his soul, for my husband because he's still in and he's going through. He's retiring. He'd be retiring in November, so I'm getting a whole lot of information from him.
But
And I didn't get my fully percentage until like 17 years later because I got out in 2003. So,
but y'all know that's the plan about everything.
Oh,
Is they don't
absolutely.
they pass the bills, but then they don't tell you about none of them, but
Let
right.
they
me tell
really
you,
don't want
I'm
to
gonna
give you the
say that
money.
my dad is a Vietnam War veteran. He just got his disability when he was 70 years old. 70.
It's crazy.
My uncle is a Vietnam War veteran. Parkinson's disease from Agent Orange exposure. He just got his disability when he was in his 60s. And so that's the thing. When the current representative from my district voted no against the PACT Act, that's
That's
very
crazy.
telling because
Yes.
he voted no against the PACT Act. So when you do something like that, you what you're telling me is you don't support the 55,000 veterans that live in your district. And so it's just
Exactly.
having someone would say, I want to open up an inquiry into how soldiers are out processing. If that's, if that's what we would need to do, an
Hmm.
inquiry on how soldiers are out processing, what information are they being given, and gathering the information on that so that like you said, we can come back and make a recommendation that it needs to be streamlined X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I feel you. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely. My dad, God bless his soul, he never got his disability and he served in the Korean WAR. So he never did. And then when he was stationed in Camp Lejeune, he was in the Marines. So my mom cannot collect that disability because she wasn't living with him at the time. She would have to be on the base with him. She married him. They got married later after, so she can't get none of that. So it's a whole lot of disconnect in the VA system and in the military period, to tell you the truth. But I know we don't have a long long time for that. But I just want to ask you that question. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. And thank
Yeah,
you for
thank you.
your service. Thank your
You
husband for his
too.
service.
You too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Butter.
Thank you, Sianka.
Alrighty.
All right. So I know, I mean, we could talk about, what this country is doing for our veterans all day long. I don't think they do enough, personally, in my opinion. But at the same time, there are services there. We had someone here recently that says if people don't think that the government, can, that putting healthcare in the government's hands would be a bad idea. He said we already have that system. It's called the VA. The government runs that. And I mean, and while it's not the best, there is a system.
Yeah. And I can tell you that I can't count on one finger the bad experiences that I've had. Again, I'm just a relational person. That's my leadership style, but it's just at the core of my being who I am. And I believe in building relationships. And so, I've built those relationships over the years of living here with the providers. And, I probably know every nurse in the ER because I've been there, and the specialty docs and, my first primary care doctor, she was there for 35 years.
Wow.
So when she retired, it was just like, no, don't go. But I know that may not be the same for every VA but I can say that, we have a place to go. Think about these people that live in the rural communities that I'm running to represent, that have nowhere to go.
Absolutely.
And many of them die. Many of them die because they can't even get a simple blood pressure check. They don't even know they have high blood pressure.
Right.
They can't get a finger prick. They don't even know they're diabetic.
Yeah.
And so while it's not a perfect system, I am thankful. I don't know how people afford medication.
Mhm.
I went to get some medication for my mom, some Flonase or something. It was like $180. I can go to the VA and get it for free.
Mm.
So I'm thankful.
Yeah.
System is not perfect, but there's some people that don't have anything at all. They don't have a system, have nowhere to go. Yeah.
All right. So we got a little less than 20, little more than 20 minutes left in this beautiful live here. So we're gonna go into our second rapid fire right now. Okay. So this one is fun. This is fun. This is not. This is no. This is off the top of your head questions for real. Okay. All right. Gold or silver?
Hi, Amanda. I haven't seen you in forever either.
So gold or silver?
Oh, gold.
Okay. Bagels or toast?
Butter toast, the old school way, where you put the butter on it and you put it in the oven and you put it on high and let it roll.
Tattoos or piercings?
Ooh, for me, neither.
Okay.
I mean, I have my ears, but I can't. I wanted to get one in basic, but I saw the girl get an infection in hers. That was enough for me.
You was like, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
Christmas or birthday? What's more
Birthday, it's all about me.
Okay. Would you rather go to outer space or to the bottom of the sea?
Ooh, outer space.
Me too. Me too. Bar soap or body wash?
Bar soap.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
old school.
Okay.
Bar soap.
A potted plant or a bouquet of flowers?
Potted plant, so I can enjoy it for a long time.
All right. Your favorite place in Georgia?
Ooh, I'm a beach person, so I love Tybee Island, Hilton Head, anywhere there's water.
Anywhere there's water. We like Atlanta or Savannah?
Ooh, don't make me do that.
Well, it tells more about your personality because Savannah's just a little more laid back, while Atlanta's a little more, party.
I can't choose.
Not which city, but I'm like more like I can say, what's your personality? Are you more Atlanta or are you more Savannah?
I am more Savannah, but I like Atlanta because they have good food, they have good shopping, they have basketball, they have, the arts, the theater. But if I'm going for R&R, then I'm going to Savannah.
So, Mr. Z in the comments, sir, her district borders South Carolina. He's a South Carolina resident. Talking about Hilton Head in South Carolina. So yeah, she be crossing the border to go to Hilton Head.
Yeah, 2 hours away.
She be crossing the border, sir. Okay, so here's another one. I'm about to put you in another trick bag. Bulldogs or Yellow Jackets?
Oh, come on. Go Dogs. Come on. Go Dogs.
Oh, that was an easy one?
That's easy. Go Dogs.
I'm a Gator myself, ma'am. So
okay, that's my husband. He's from Florida. So
he's Florida Gator. Well, I'm not from Florida. I just happened to be my team. I just never. I'm from the DC area. Could never really get with the Terrapins. So I don't know, but I became a Gator fan late in life. All right, so let's go to our last. Do a couple of questions from our last topic, which is affordability, growth, and economy. Okay. So I know you say it's all back to the budget. It's all about the budget. Okay, but with that budget, how will you guide your community with about 40% of your district's population living in rural counties? And many counties struggle to keep businesses and jobs local. What federal investments or programs would you support to strengthen small business growth and economic stability outside of the Augusta metro area?
Oh wow, that's a lot. So let's talk about housing. When you talk about affordability, one of the problems that we have in our rural areas is housing, affordable housing. And I know when people hear affordable housing, they think ghetto. They think no, everybody deserves to have a place to lay their head, where the roof is not leaking, where they have proper flowing plumbing, where their kids can get a good night's sleep. Everybody deserves to have a place that's decent. And we've seen a lot of gentrification, and they price people out of their communities, right? And so when one of the things that is, yes, we can expand the low income housing tax credit. We can fund affordable housing construction. We can incentivize local zoning programs and we can convert vacant. You have a lot of blight or vacant properties. We can convert some of those commercial properties into housing. We can do that through federal dollars. When you talk about rental assistance, expanding Section 8 housing choice vouchers. I know people have their opinions about that, but listen, you have people that are disabled. They can't work. It's not that they don't want to work, but they can't work. And so because they can't work, does that mean they should live in substandard housing? Does that mean that they shouldn't get a decent place to live because they got in a car, or they just woke up and said, oh, I want to get in a car accident today, and be crippled or have spinal injuries, and now I can't work? And so, no, they deserve to have a decent place to live. So we can expand Section 8 housing choice vouchers, fully funding HUD programs, and emergency rental assistance during economic downtimes. We saw a lot of this during COVID. And I'm glad that the state and the federal government did kick in funds. Now, some cities did not use those funds to help people with rental assistance, and they should have.
Yes.
We need to talk about tenant protections. So Congress can condition federal housing funds on just cause eviction protections, transparency in fee structures, and limits on excessive late fees. A lot of times, renters, they tag people with all of these late fees, and then they end up evicting them. And then the fair housing enforcement. So we can't impose a national rent control, but we can influence protections through funding leverage, right? First time ownership. I'm concerned if my sons are ever going to be able to become first time homeowners. Right. It's a concern. And so we can create policies that have down payment assistance programs. We can lower the federal housing fees, and we need to reform credit access, because how credit is set up now is set up against a certain group of people, I believe. And we need to reform, and I believe it's set up that way to keep them from being able to be homeowners, to be home ownership. We got to address this corporate ownership of housing. I was in Guyton. Guyton is, I forget the county. Guyton is in Effingham County. And there was a whole subdivision that's being built. And the homes are not for sale. They will be for lease. And so that there will be for lease. They're not for home ownership. So these corporations are buying up property, they're building, erecting homes, and then they're leasing them. And the rent is astronomical.
Right.
And so we've got to hold hearings to talk about these investors that are purchasing these large numbers of single family homes and raising the rent, or that are building these single family homes and raising those rent prices. We got to increase reporting requirements, and we got to consider tax reform that targets. We talked about making the rich and the wealthy pay their taxes. So these corporate ownerships of housing, we've got to make sure that we reform the tax and target these people that have these bulk investments. We got to raise the minimum wage. I think that needs to happen at the national level.
Absolutely.
I think that needs to come from the federal government. We have put it in the hands of states for too long, and it hasn't happened. Our municipality, when I was a city council member, we raised our minimum wage at our municipality to $15. You're seeing a lot of municipalities do it, right? But you're not seeing the private sector do it. $5.25, $7.25, nobody can live off of that. They did a wage study in 2020, and it said in 2020 that the minimum wage should be $22. I think it's up to $28 now. And so from a federal level, we have got to raise the minimum wage, because if rent doesn't go down, people just can't. They can't afford. Right.
So wait a minute. So
higher minimum wage.
What do you think that should be? What do you think? Now you said what the experts said, but what do you think it should be?
$22.
22. Okay. I like 25 better, but okay.
And so I just want people to understand, because again, people make promises, but I need people to understand that as congressional leaders, we can't directly set rent prices, right? But we can influence policies that affect housing supply, that affect affordability, that affect wages, and that affect protections for tenants. And so, I mean, we can go on. It's a whole lot of stuff that we can do. And just like with what I was just saying, that about we don't influence, we can't directly set rent prices. When it comes to inflation, people need to understand that as congressional leaders, like we don't have, what we do doesn't directly impact inflation. That's the Fed that does, right? But what we can do is because it's managed by the Federal Reserve. That's what I was trying to say. But we in Congress, what we can do is we can shape the economic environment. And so that's going to either reduce or fuel inflation. But it's in terms of inflation, that's managed by the Federal Reserve. And so people need to understand that. It's not managed by me. And I'm not going to tell you that, oh yeah, when I get in there, we're going to change the laws and inflation is going to go down. That's managed by the Federal Reserve. Now there's things that we can do to make sure that we either reduce or fuel it, but we don't actually control it.
Absolutely. I love that you came to this town hall with your papers in hand, your ideas written down, and you are giving us your thoughts. That we need more people ready. Like to me, you're already ready to go into this Capitol and push some ideas, make some changes. Just turn this whole thing around. So I so appreciate you being here with us tonight. I just got a quick closing question for you. Okay. Now, voters in Georgia's 12th district, They value leaders with real service and community roots. What personal experiences best prepare you to be their voice in Congress at this moment?
I would say, of course, being a veteran, being in the military, those core values of character, integrity, honor, discipline, those things, just because I got out of the Army, I never really stopped being a soldier. That coupled with my union experience, the union gave me a platform. It trained me. It taught me Thank you so much. My union experience has taught me how to read, interpret, and understand what is written and what my rights are. And from that, how to fight for what's right. It has given me the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C., to sit in the halls of Congress, to look leaders in the face and to tell them and to ask them to support this and to support that. And so that experience, already having been there, already have been doing the work. And then lastly, being an elected official. And I'm not saying that everybody who runs for this level of leadership has to be an elected official. But I think I bring that to the table, having been elected 2 terms to city council and understanding the budget, because the budget is so important. The budget has to reflect the people, and you got to have somebody at the table that understands just how important that budget is. And then the laws. I plan day 1 to introduce the Alex Preddy Act. Alex Preddy was my union brother who was murdered. Okay, what's the word I want to say? I can't say murdered. What's the
Unalived.
Unalived. He was my union brother that was unalived in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And so I plan to introduce the Alex Preddy Act day 1 that I'm in Congress, that is going to stop presidents from being able to come in office and to strip the collective bargaining rights of the American Federation of Government Employees. We need legislation in place that guarantees no matter who is in office, they cannot come in and strip our rights from us. And so in his honor, that is the first piece of legislation that I plan to introduce. So my veteran, being in the military, my military experience, my experience with my union, and my experience being an elected local official, I think all of those things have prepared me. They have equipped me. I'm not afraid. I already know and have connections and have been working with legislators for many years. And so, and I'm a part of, I told you, the backpack, which is about 50 or 60 of us from across the country. And we have vowed and signed on to this signatory where our 5 pillars are: term limits, doing away with Citizens United. We need to take corporate and billionaire dollars out of our politics and give it back to the people so that people like you and I can have a seat at the table. A 5-year moratorium. So if you're in the House or the Senate and you lose your job, it's 5 years before you can walk back in as a lobbyist, because we need to close the door of access that people are getting because they're wealthy. The 4th thing we want to do is stop congressional leaders from being able to trade stocks. You didn't get elected to get rich. You got elected to represent and be a voice for the people. And so we want to stop them from inside trading and being able to trade stocks and get wealthy. And then the last thing that we signed on for is to come up with a code of ethics for the U.S. Supreme Court, because they have shown us in some instances that they are not for the people, of the people, and by the people, but they're for a party and they're for a person. And so there's no checks and balances. And so we need to have a code of ethics so we can hold even the Supreme Court accountable. And we got to restore the balance of power and accountability back to our country. That's the first thing we have to do. And that's why I signed on with Backpack. And I'm excited to get to DC next week and stand on the hills, the steps of Capitol Hill, and hold a press conference, and let folks know there's a group of us and we're ready for the fight. And we understand that we've got to restore the balance of power and bring accountability back to the American people. Because when only 65 House members vote to expose sexual misconduct,
Yes, that word.
and 170 some people vote to hide it, we have a problem.
We got a problem.
And everybody that voted to hide it, they need to lose their job in November. And everybody that's guilty of sexual misconduct, they need to lose their job in November. And I'm done.
So you said y'all coming to where y'all going to be going? Because I'm here in DC. I would love to show up.
Absolutely. I will send you the information. Backpack. We're going to be doing a press conference on Tuesday on Capitol Hill. And we're going to be having a rally and doing a press conference on Wednesday on Capitol Hill. And I will inbox you the exact information and location. And I can't wait to meet you. I'm super excited.
Me too. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Just remind the people of where they can find you, support you, all on your socials and everything, how they can donate to your campaign. Remind everyone where how they could do that.
Absolutely. So cerettaforgeorgia is .com, just like this. cerettaforgeorgia.com is my website. On the website is a link to donate. No dollar amount is too small. $1, $5, no dollar amount is too big, but the max is $3,800. We'll take that too. All of my handles are Ceretta for Georgia. Sometimes it's for and just GA. Sometimes it's spelled out for in Georgia. And all I'll say is, if you want something better, vote for Ceretta.
Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it from the rap bastard right here. You want something better? Vote Ceretta. You got it? Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been an amazing conversation. I can see you already in one of them chairs on one of them committees, grilling these people. I already see it, baby. So keep the focus. Let's make it happen. I wish I could vote for you too. That's the one thing. Is like I have to rely on the people of Savannah, Georgia, to do the right thing. Like that's the I got to rely on them to put you. I'm ready to put everybody I met in there, and I know stuff is gonna get done. But I got to rely on the people of Savannah, Georgia, to do the right thing and get you up in there. So hopefully they will do that. Let me remind you all, we have another town hall coming up. If you want to stick around, Ms. Ceretta, we have one coming up at 8 o'clock with Mr. Robert Cooper. We've been trying to get Mr. Cooper on this Our Vote Counts for a good little minute now. He is running out of Florida. He's running for a U.S. House seat, District 6 in Florida. So this could be one of your mates. What is it?
Backpack.
No, he could be part of your class, your 120th class.
Oh yeah, the freshman class. Yes, ma'am.
And so again, at 8 o'clock, y'all, in just a few minutes, we will be talking with Robert Cooper, who is running for Florida's 6th district. And if you would like to be a part of OVC, please DM us. And then you can either, we're looking for hosts, we're looking for moderators. We are looking for people to do research. So if you know someone or you yourself would like to be a part of OVC, please DM us and we can do that. So I appreciate you all for coming through tonight. Let me just remind you really quickly of who we are. We are Our Vote Counts, a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity, and ensure that every voice is heard. Through education, outreach, accountability, and action, we're building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. So make sure you continue to join us. This is one thing they let me know I missed, because I know I would love to have you at one of our round tables. Our next one is coming up on the 15th, this Sunday coming. So look for an invite in your email for that. We just get candidates that have done their town halls together, and you can talk with your soon to be classmates and y'all just we do this so that
Yeah,
y'all go
somebody
into
said I was
that.
gonna play my song.
Oh,
I
you gonna
have
play
it
your
ready.
song? Hold on, y'all. We got to play the song, but we do this real quick too. Y'all could be on one accord going into this Capitol, and we're gonna make sure that everybody's on the same page and the agenda is set. So really quickly, we're gonna play Miss Ceretta's theme song, y'all. So let's listen.
You hear it?
Yeah. Georgia 12. Make it stand up, man. Ceretta Smith, we there all with you. For you as representative, yeah, we know the truth. From the block to the hill, she been holding it down. Georgia's 12th district, yeah, the people now. Georgia's 12th district, yeah, the people now. She came from the people, walked every street. Former councilwoman, steady on her feet. When the workers needed, voice in the fight. Labor union leader, standing for what's right. Boots on the ground, salute that rain. Army veteran, service in her thanks. She don't run from pressure, she don't run from pain. She been built for the moment, sunshine or rain. Hands up if you want real change. Not talk, but a real campaign. Heart so pure, vision so strong. When Ceretta lead, the whole hood gon' sing. Ceretta Smith, we there all with you. For you as representative, yeah, we know the truth. From the block to the hill, she be holding it down. Georgia's 12th district, yeah, the people now. Awesome, y'all. That's Georgia's 12th district. Now she gonna stand up for the people, y'all.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Y'all, make sure you continue to join us, because your vote is your power. Y'all make sure y'all have a